All right, so for the noise, I apologize because that's my computer running, but let's get started. So for this, I'm gonna use two shirts. I chose these two Black Lives Matter shirts. I don't really know what this is called. These I got 2 yards each, my chalk, some needles and pins, of course. And this thing, I don't know what it's for. I think it's for like curtains or something, but I thought it was like a little trimming like this, and then when I got home I realized it was like this. So we're gonna figure out how to use this the way I want to. I'm gonna start with one shirt. I'm about to do this like the easiest peasiest way. So I don't know how long I want the bag, so let's fold the shirt so we can see how long I would want the tote bag to be. This is what I want. So I'm gonna come right here and just measure really close to the edge of the arm line, because we can't really go further out. So I'm just gonna mark the line of where I want my bag to end, and I put it all the way out close to the end because I wanted like this to basically, the line to be the seam allowance. So actually, let me mark right here where I want the bag to stop. You guys can't see, sorry about that. So I'm just gonna mark right along here, so that way I can unfold the shirt. So you actually can do this first if you want. I don't know, I'm just thinking about what would make sense as I go, so yeah. All right, so I still be dreading these straight lines. So that's done there. Now let's go across the top now. Boom. So from here and down the sides, so that way when you're cutting it won't move. It is 2 layers. I'm gonna use both layers so it could be a thicker bag. I have no idea where they are. I am gonna pin the top and the bottom real quick so that way when I do cut it doesn't come apart. But when I sew, I'm only gonna sew the 2 sides of each shirt. So what I'm doing to this shirt, I'm just gonna do to the other shirt. So I'm only gonna sew from the top to bottom, only on the sides. I'm leaving the top open and the bottom open, and you will see why after. I'm gonna give a little seam allowance for this. This part is done. Now, if you don't want the straps that I'm gonna use, you can always make straps out of the leftover fabric that you have. These shirts are a size small, by the way. The other side of the bag, I'm gonna do the same thing, but instead of drawing the squares again from scratch, I'm gonna keep my shirt facing the right side up, and I'm gonna take this shirt that I did it with the first time. You can see the white lines are still on here. And I'm gonna turn it around. Well, let me take these off first. Now what I'm gonna do is make sure everything is out and flat. So now I'm just gonna take the shirts and put them on the right sides together. Now I'm putting it like this because I wanna take this and I wanna basically sew down the 2 sides. When I flip it inside out, it's gonna be on the right side. So instead of cutting it on the wrong sides, I'm gonna cut it on this side. And I'm gonna use the pins again to hold it down. After I cut it out, I'm just gonna take the 2 sides and only sew the sides together, and then I'm gonna come back. So that's done. Now I'm just gonna sew the two sides down, and I'll be right back. Now this is the top where the words are. So now all I'm gonna do is, I could have did it all before. I just chose not to. Don't know why. That's what I did, but whatever. So now I'm just gonna fold it down a little bit for a hem. And now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sew across. So don't sew it together. I'm gonna literally sew this side. I'm gonna come around and I'm gonna sew through the other side, so that way when we turn it inside out, it can have a hem like this. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I realized I wanted the back a little bit shorter, so I measured it. I put it on me to see how far down I wanted it, and I measured it. So I'm gonna just cut off about 2 inches, I believe. Yep. So I'll probably cut off a little bit above 2 inches, but this is how short I want the back, just for safety. Now I'm turning it inside out. And this is what we're getting so far. The reason why I didn't do the bottom is because I need to sew the handle on. And if I sew it like this, when I turn it over, basically the handle will be inside and you can't see it. So I want to do a handle that's like this instead of a handle that's like this. So originally I wanted to do it like on the two sides, but for some reason that is not gonna work, because yeah, it's not enough room where it wouldn't cover the words. I mean, it would cover some of the words and it would basically be off of the edge like this. So now I gotta figure out how to make it look good, like in between. I'm gonna let it hang just a little bit off, like this. So you wanna line it up wherever you want it. Just gonna see if I could put it in between. Something like this. Pin it down. So remember, don't pin it down. Don't pin both of the pieces down. You want to take the two pieces and pin on one side of the fabric, if that makes sense. Honestly, thinking about it, I probably should have did this first before I even sewed anything. That's what I should have did first, to be honest. So if I do this again, I'll do that first, because this part would have been easier if I did it the other way. I might have just made this harder for myself, but I don't know. That's how I figured. In my head, this is what it looked like, and I'm like, okay, this is what you have to do. But now that I'm actually doing it, the other way could have been better. So I'm just gonna take this wood just to make it easier. I'll fix that after. Now, I'm trying to figure out if I should sew this and then do the other side. Yeah, so all I'm gonna do is sew a square. So I could either sew a square across the top, or I could just sew it up and let it be. I'm not sure yet, so when I sew it, I'll see what I'm gonna do with that. So I'm gonna use red thread, and I'll be back, and then I'm gonna do the other side. So the straps are on. I think I did pretty good with the straps. I'm very happy. Let's see what happens to the other side. I'm honestly feeling a little lazy, and I think I want this to look different now. So I'm gonna see how it looks if I don't do it all the way down, because I can do this. Let me see what this blocks. So I can do this, or I can do it just like this on the inside. Yeah, inside looks better. The inside. So I'm gonna pin it. Match that up good. I'm gonna see if it can still hold pretty good if I do it like this. All right, so I finished. I gotta cut these strings first. This is how it's looking. I did the two insides like this. So now to finish the bag, I'm gonna turn it inside out once more. So now all I'm gonna do is sew a straight stitch around like that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I sewed the edge of the bag. When I got to the two straps, I just double back just to make sure it was secure. So now I'm going to turn it inside out because we are done. So there you have it. We have a nice, cute Black Lives Matter bag, and this is how the bottom looks. Boom. I'm excited. I feel like I did good. So, all right. Now, if you want to be extra, you could add this little situation at the bottom. And I'm adding it where it's going to be something that can come on and come off, because I might not always want it all the time, or I might not always want to wear my green sneakers. So this is going to go right here like this. So a little further, because I don't know how this. Put the block inside of there to make it easier, because we're gonna hand sew. So now I'm gonna just hand sew it.